Hey everyone, my name's Tyra, and I'm just going to be doing a quick recap on Titans. So far, we're halfway through the series, so I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on all the characters, the plot line, what's going on, what I think of it, kind of talk about some of the controversies, because I just made this page and I'm pretty new to reacting, so I haven't had a chance to give my thoughts and opinions on it. So if you have your thoughts and opinion, please comment below, because I'm interested in kind of seeing other people's perspective of things. So be sure to comment. And if you're new here, please like and subscribe and check out my last video. It's the Titans review for episode number 5. And if you like that, check out the other past reviews I've done. There's only like 4 of them, I believe, or maybe, yeah, 5, my bad. There's only 5 of them. But be sure to check them out. And if you're returning, thank you for bearing with me through these cringy videos. I know. Don't worry, they'll get better as I learn to get more comfortable with speaking in front of the camera. So I just want to talk about the main 4 characters. So Hawk and Dove, not really going to be a part of this conversation. But to start off, I just want to talk about Robin. Initially, a lot of people didn't really like his costume. They said, oh, when they found out it was going to be Dick Grayson as Robin, people were kind of getting mad because they thought the costume was more fit for Tim Drake or Damian Wayne and all that. Personally, I didn't mind it. I thought it looked good, but I think collectively, as a whole, like fandom, most people kind of preferred Robin's look to Starfire's and Raven's and Beast Boy and etc. Next, when we saw like the trailer, a lot of people didn't really like his personality. They kind of said, oh, he's stealing Jason Todd's personality. And honestly, I thought that crap was like stupid, because I mean, at this stage in Dick's life, he's kind of upset with Batman and he's holding some resentment. So ultimately, that's what's going to affect your personality, is holding on to those issues that you're kind of like afraid to talk about or don't want to talk about, or you want to like hide inside or whatever. And it just eats you up. So that's what kind of personality Jason Todd has. So I think the main difference is that Robin, ultimately, he grows out of that resentment and he rekindles his relationship with Bruce and all that. That's why for TV shows and like things like that, we don't really see that side of Dick. But Dick has definitely had instances. Dick has definitely had instances where he's lashed out, when like the last in Doom Patrol. Dick has definitely had instances where like the last well, not the last episode, but in the Doom Patrol episode where he's beating the hell out of that father and the kid walks in. There's a comic like that. I'll post that like right here. There's instances where he can't control his temper and all that, but that's been shown in comics before. The only thing is he grows out of that. So I don't really think it's fair to say, oh, he's stealing Jason Todd's personality, because he's at a stage in his life where he's going through anger or resentment towards the Batman. Another thing is Robin definitely grew out of that before Jason Todd became Red Hood. And with Jason Todd's Red Hood, that's basically what he kind of has, is he has this anger and like resentment that he kind of like won't let go of. That's what kind of like affects his personality, basically. Not to say that's like the only things that control his personality, but that has a big effect on it. Another thing with Robin I want to talk about is kind of like the development on Titans that they kind of showed us from when Bruce adopted Dick, how he didn't like click like that, even though Bruce was like some billionaire or whatever. He kind of wanted to take control. He was kind of feeling alone. He was running away. He was stealing cars or like that. And while not everybody who's adopted kind of goes through such extreme stealing cars and all that, because they don't, I think it was kind of realistic, because not everyone who's adopted fits in right away. And there are a lot of people who do run away. Not everyone, but there are a lot of people who do run away, who do feel alone, or feel like they can't confide in the people who adopted them. And it does like cause stress on like the child and the parents or whatever. So I thought they did a good job showing that with their flashback. The main thing that kind of annoys me is like people's expectations on what they think Dick Grayson should be, and not on how he actually is, because a lot of people have different sides to Dick that they kind of favor, and when it's not shown they kind of lash out or whatever. And I feel like you kind of have to get over that, because he's a complex character and he doesn't always deal with situations in the way that you would expect him to deal with it. That doesn't make him any less of him as a character. That's who he is. But your expectation of how he is just shouldn't kind of like control how you feel towards a TV show, basically, if that makes any sense. Another thing that kind of like bugs me is like, I don't know, I read the comics like maybe like 3 months ago, the Nightwing year 1 or whatever, but I wish that they kind of went into more detail on why Dick kind of fell out with Batman in the first place. Like they'll say, oh, we weren't like seeing eye to eye, or I didn't want to like be in his shadow or something like that. But I want to know like what the hell drove Dick to kind of like, you know, Dick and Batman. I guess it's like a variable of things, so maybe that's why they don't really like pinpoint which action. It's kind of like multiple things like building up to it is what I kind of like assume. But I don't know, like for Jason Todd, we know he doesn't really like Batman that much, because like he allowed the Joker to live after he killed him, basically. So that's kind of like the main reason why Jason Todd kind of conflicts with Batman. All we have for like Dick is like he didn't want to be in the shadow of Batman. But I mean, I guess that's a valid reason, but I don't know. Me personally, I just wish they would have gone more into what kind of like drove them apart in the first place, I guess. I can't remember if it was like ethics or something like that. I remember in the comics, it may have not happened or whatever, this is just off my memory. There's like a mission that they were on, and Dick was like in the Titans or whatever, and Bruce was like, oh, but I need you here, or else like what's the point of you being Robin or something like that. I don't know. And I'm just gonna say, I think they're taking a realistic approach with Raven as well, and they're doing a good job of it, because it's practically psychology. When you're that age, 14, 13, 12 or whatever, your brain is still developing your frontal lobe, and that controls like your judgment, your impulse, and like emotional outbursts and all that. And take that and consider the fact that she has like a demon inside of her. Like, how would you act? You would be just as emotional, just as needy in all the things that people say that she is. Plus the fact that, you know, when you're 14 or 13, you're cringy as well. Like I still am. Like if you look at my videos, like fucking look at me, cringe. Okay, another thing is the show is called Titans. Yes, they're the Titans, but officially no, they're not, because this is the origin story. This is how they became the Titans that we know and love or whatever. So basically she's Rachel Roth right now. She's not Raven. She's not a superhero yet. We're gonna see how she develops into Robin, into the character that we know and love. And I think that's what kind of like infuriates people, because they're not kind of like grasping that idea. They think it should be a superhero show from the jump, but Titans is not that show. I mean, if you wanted that, we have the Teen Titans, not the Teen Titans Go, because, you know, that's kind of childish. But we have the regular Titans who are already established or whatever. But this is a origin story. So we're going to see how she was before she was the Raven that we know and love, and how she came to be the Raven that we know and love. And that Raven is kind of like, you know, someone who's controls her feelings or whatever, who can heal people, the Azarath, you know, all that crap. And honestly, that's what I expect to see in future Titans episodes. I want to see that growth. And already we've been seeing that growth. Like we see in the Doom Patrol, where she's healing, where she's able to heal that that deer or whatever, and she's able to calm people's minds down, like the chick from Doom Patrol who was like doused in nitrogen or whatever, liquid nitrogen. We see her being able to kind of like look into people's past by touching them. We're seeing like all these aspects of Raven, the Raven that we know and love, coming together slowly. So that's what I'm glad to see in Titans, and that's what they're kind of like doing. So we just have to be kind of like patient, and the patience is the hardest part. But when we look back on this series, we're gonna be appreciated of it, that it didn't just jump right into it, that we did get to see all this stuff. Alright, so now let's get into Beast Boy. So I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. Beast Boy was not really my favorite character, so I wasn't really invested in him as much as, say, someone like Batman or Dick Grayson or Huntress or etc. So the only knowledge that I have of his origin is from Young Justice, so I'm gonna play that video real quick.
Whoa! Are you both all right?
Mom! We were just saved by Robin and Kid Flash!
Well, Superboy and Miss Martian helped too.
Oryx!
We diverted the Bee-Aliens around the sanctuary. You should be safe now.
Yeah. Coast is clear, Miss Sam. You can decamo now.
Hi.
You may have made things worse. Bee-Alien border crossings are a way of life here. Usually they wreck a few fences and move on. Engaging them might have made us a target.
Mom! Uncool!
I'm sorry. I should thank you. This is my son, Garfield. I'm...
Marie Logan! I can't believe I'm actually meeting you in person!
The Oryx is sick, and I think you injured this person.
I told you there'd be consequences.
Always. Let's get him inside.
He's in shock. He needs a blood transfusion now.
Is either of you O negative?
No, sorry.
Neither am I. It's the hardest to match. I kept a supply in the clinic.
I can run him to the nearest hospital.
The nearest hospital with a guaranteed blood supply is half an hour away at your top speed. Longer by bioship.
He doesn't have that much time. What's Superboy's blood type?
He's Kryptonian. And Miss Martian...
Might be able to help. My shapeshifting occurs at the cellular level. I think I can morph my blood to match his.
Please, try.
I'll need to concentrate. No distractions.
Out! All of you, out!
have of his background, and we see next season that he is Beast Boy. So clearly, I'm pretty sure that in this universe, Miss Martian didn't like give him the blood transfusion that he received in the Young Justice universe. But I'm pretty sure that he didn't like just wake up one morning like completely green or whatever. So I'm pretty sure it kind of like happened like over time, sporadically. So I don't really see where people are kind of like being like pissed off that Beast Boy isn't like completely green, because well, I can see why. And like the only reason I can see why is because they're used to seeing him as a Titan, as a fully established Titan where he's already green, and he already has his shape-shifting abilities like that or whatever. He's not like learning it. He already learned it. He already mastered all that crap or whatever. So in the origin series, I think it's kind of like harder for people to kind of like get that, hey, maybe he will turn green over time as his condition seems to like, I don't know whether to like say it like worsens or not or whatever, but before it like turns him completely green, I guess people don't really like kind of like take that into consideration. That's why they're kind of like mad. But like since, you know, I'm doing like these reviews now, I feel like it will make sense for me to know these origins. So if you know a comic or whatever, just like comment it down below for me, please. Same with Starfire. I didn't really like read up on her origin, and I barely like remember it from like Teen Titans also. So if you have that, just like kind of like link that down below too. But more on like Beast Boy or whatever, like I think that was like people's biggest concern with like Beast Boy was like, oh, he's not green or whatever, he's not completely green. But I feel like as the series goes on and they're becoming more of the Titans that we know and love, I feel like he's gonna be green or whatever. I think he's gonna end up being completely green. I'm not sure. So I mean, I could be just completely wrong and he's gonna like stay like fucking the same, his like regular skin color or whatever. But still, I also want to point out, this is gonna cross into Starfire section as well. I don't get why people have a problem with it, because let's take Poison Ivy. This is a character who has been in many different TV shows. I don't know about movies. Yeah, I guess movies. TV shows, movies, or whatever, and sometimes she's white, sometimes she's green. It doesn't matter. Like they alternate it. Even with comics, sometimes she's green, sometimes she's white, or whatever. I feel like it shouldn't be like a problem. It shouldn't. With Beast Boy, I understand it's like more kind of like he's like usually always green, so like whether it's like in a comic or like a TV show, he's already green from the start. But at the same time, none of those stories there might be like a Beast Boy origin story that I might not know about and he's like completely green from the start. I don't know. But to my knowledge, none of those are origin stories for Beast Boy. This is and crossing over into Starfire, I feel like I don't get why people are mad that like she's like played by a black woman when yes, she's supposed to be orange, but at the same time we have Poison Ivy who can either be like green or white. Why can't Starfire be like orange or black? Doesn't matter because she's a fucking alien. She's an alien. So I feel like that also comes into what I was saying earlier with Robin, is like it's people's expectations of these characters that are making them feel this way when they kind of like ignore the reality of what it is for this character. And my ideal, I'm gonna be honest, like, yes, the first look that we saw, it was trash in my opinion. They could have gave her like a better like curly like wig or whatever, and like, you know, I feel like they did like cheap out on that wig. Like, that shit was trash. But my ideal Starfire is Anna Dope with this hairstyle, and this is I believe SZA or whatever. Don't watch the video because I mean it's pretty like cringy. I'm gonna put up a new set so you can see kind of like more of it, but like I think Anna Dope with this hairstyle would be the perfect Starfire in my opinion. And a lot of people will say, oh, why don't you get like SZA? SZA should have played it or whatever. But she's not an actor. She doesn't have the same pizzazz that Anna does, that Anna brings to Starfire's character or whatever. And I think people kind of, well, one, people are racist. That's like one side of it. But there are people who aren't racist as well, who don't like the way Starfire is kind of being portrayed because she's not orange or whatever. And I will say, like, Titans has like the orange or whatever on there, but I don't really like it. It looks kind of weird. Maybe I need to wait more to see as she fully like becomes Starfire. Maybe we'll see how that works, but like I don't really care about how that like CGI orange stuff looks. Again, talking about CGI, a lot of people don't like Beast Boy's tiger or whatever. I think it's actually pretty good CGI compared to like Starfire's like orange skin. I would rather just have, you know, Anna be like, you know, the beautiful color that she is. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. But that's just what I think. And I'm not trying to rant or go on to like a rant, even though basically, you know, I kind of am. But I think people kind of like need to take a different like approach when viewing the Titans. Kind of like let go of the Teen Titans, because this isn't Teen Titans. This isn't the comics. This is the Titans, the TV series. So view it as that. If you like the Teen Titans, like it's on DC Universe, just go watch that. If you would much prefer the comics, like the comics are on DC Universe, go read that. You don't always have to like watch it or whatever if you don't, because like I mean if you're watching it, I mean something deep inside is telling you that you like it, you generally like it or whatever. So on to the plot of Titans. So far what I grasped from this show is that there's these 4 individuals, one who's, well, starting with Robin, we have one who's kind of like trying to start a new life as a detective, get away from his alter ego or whatever, and live life as Dick Grayson. We have another individual, this is going to be Raven. She's seen this demon. Ooh, speaking of demons, so one thing that I kind of like think is happening is that with Raven, whenever she sees like her demon in the mirror, I think sometimes, not all the times, but I think sometimes it's like Trigon like speaking to her through that demon or whatever. Like the scene where she was like in like that church or whatever, and she was locked up in that room, and the demon Raven was like talking to her. I thought that was like kind of like Trigon talking to her through her demon. But there's like other times where like I think it's just kind of like her like self consciousness kind of taking that demon, like when she was like on the school bus or whatever, and it was like slut or whatever, like dumb shit like that. I think it's just like Raven's like own mind. But back to what I was saying, like we have this teenager who's just lost her mother, who has like something inside of her that she can't control or whatever. She's very, I I don't know if she's. I guess she's religious. I guess you can consider her religious because every time she sees that demon, she has to like pull out like a cross or like draw like a cross or whatever. We have another individual who's like kind of like getting like belittled by the people that he's like with or whatever, and like kind of having to hide who he is. This is Beast Boy who I'm talking about. Because in the Teen Titans that I saw when I just watched Teen Titans like a couple months ago, but I just rewatched it like a couple months ago. In the Teen Titans, with their Doom Patrol episode, they like fucking like just like belittled like Beast Boy. Like his like opinions didn't really matter because he was like younger than them, I guess. So when you have like that going on, like you kind of like don't feel a part of like a family, or you kind of feel like the useless part of your family or whatever. So I feel like, oh, let's not forget Starfire. When you have like, well, she has amnesia or whatever, so she doesn't even know that. Well, I assume she doesn't even know that she's like an alien. She just knows that she has like a light inside of her, or that she could like absorb like energy and all that. But I feel like when you have like these 4 lost individuals, they're just gonna like come together, and they do end up coming together finally in the 5th episode. They all are deciding to like form their team. I feel like the next like episodes going on, we're gonna see like a lot of people are gonna be like more happy about Titans, like in their plot going on since they're united, because the past episodes have been kind of like leading up to like what was gonna bring them together. So now that they're together, we have 6 episodes left to kind of discover them as a team. Now I saw the trailer for episode 6, and I feel like we might not see the Titans together again, because I think Dick is gonna be going to Gotham with Jason Todd, or maybe the Titans might tag along. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But we have this storyline going on where it's either Brother Blood or like Trigon. I don't know what they're doing. I think it's Trigon. But we're seeing like this like cult kind of like after Raven. We're seeing like the nuclear family. Well, they're kind of like out because they got their heads blown off. But we see these people are after Raven to try to bring in Trigon or whatever. And I don't know if you guys saw the behind the scenes video. I have a reaction to it. But in the future, we do end up seeing like Raven with that gem right here. And I don't know if it's Trigon in it yet, because in the Justice League versus Teen Titans movie, that's where she stores him in there. But I don't know if she already had that gem. I think she already had that gem, and she just ended up keeping him in there. But I feel like the plot might kind of like mimic that, but I'm not sure, because they're bringing in Jason Todd, and they're bringing in Donna Troy, and they're bringing in also some other Titan who they said it was gonna be like a LGBT, but I think that might be in the 2nd season. I'm not sure. So I think it's just gonna be very interesting coming up, because we also have those 2 Starfire outfit changes that we're still gonna be waiting. So we might see one next episode. We might not. And while I do feel like this show would be like better if we were to be able to binge it or whatever, I feel like it was like kind of like smarter to kind of release it weekly, because when you don't have like an episode just to watch like consecutively, you're going back to the episodes that were previously like released or whatever, that like kind of like just came out, and you're kind of like absorbing more information than if you were to just like binge it or whatever. And I think that's what we're doing with all these like reviews that you may be watching and all that, forming like your own opinion, like taking different sides, because ultimately that's why I like doing reviews. That's why I like watching them. I think it's good for Titans that they're doing it weekly. And now I kind of like grew out of like, oh, this show would have been way better if they would have just like released it so we could binge it. But I feel like we kind of like get to be more informed now that it's weekly and it's on DC Universe. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but like on the apps, kind of like depending on the episode that's getting released for Titans, they'll kind of like advertise those comics and like all that, so we kind of like can inform ourselves on what to expect for the episodes and kind of like have some knowledge. I don't really have much to say. I think I kind of like got all off my chest. Be sure to comment your thoughts below, because like I'm interested in getting your view on Titans and the characters and what you thought of the controversies going on. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed my ranting, and if you agreed with me, if you disagreed with me, just turn if you disagreed with me. No, I'm joking. Just comment below, tell me what you didn't really like or whatever. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to pat yourself on the back for getting through this cringiness with me. I know the way that I'm making these videos, they're pretty cringy, but I promise you, once I get comfortable, once I like start speaking more, it will just be like my videos will be more like fluid and like watchable and enjoyable. So I'm cranking these out. So see you next week for the next review of Titans episode 6, and have a good one.